Hi, I'm Karen. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a tag video. The title of the tag is Tarot Objectivity. This tag was created by Rochelle of Amethyst, Ascension, Tarot and Astrology. And I first saw the tag on Lady Cara Tarot. When I first saw Cara's tag video, I was intrigued by the title, so I scrolled down to her description and I read through the prompts, and I knew right away that I wanted to do my own tag. And when I decide I want to do a tag video, especially one that's based on opinions, I stop right away. I don't watch the other tag videos, and I come and I answer for myself before I go back and watch all of the tags. So that's what I'm doing today. I have not watched Cara's video or Rochelle's video. I'm going to answer for myself, and then I'm going to go and watch both of their videos and any other tag videos that I've run across for this tag. So we have, I believe, 8 prompts here. I've got my prompts next to me, and I'm just going to shuffle through Good Fortune Tarot while I answer the prompts, because it gives me something to do with my hands so I don't fidget too much. This is my deck that I'm using for the month of August from my Shop My Decks, and I may switch over to some of the oracles that I'm using with it. If I do, I'll let you know what I'm flipping through. But let's get started on the tag. The first prompt is, what is objectivity? Objectivity is taking your personal bias out of it. When I was in nursing school, we were taught to categorize signs and symptoms as objective or subjective. The objective signs and symptoms were the ones that we could see, hear, measure. And then the subjective ones were the ones that the patient was telling us about how they felt and what they were experiencing, but we couldn't see or measure those symptoms. And of course, tarot is a little different. Tarot is not a science, but objectivity, I believe, still is what you can measure up against the traditional meanings of the cards, what you can observe and see and share with others based on the symbology and the meaning that you see in the card. That to me is objectivity in tarot. Prompt number 2 is, what is intuition and where does it come from? Intuition is that other component of tarot, the one that makes it special. Different than just about anything else I know of. Once you learn the symbology and meaning of the cards, that's when you start to trust yourself and look to your intuition. Intuition is that inner listening, that trusting the voice that connects us to the universe, to the collective consciousness. Intuition is something that we all have, but we have to learn to lean into it and to listen for it. And I believe to be a great tarot reader, you have to learn to lean into that intuition once you've learned the system. Where does it come from? The collective conscious, the universe. I believe we all are connected, and intuition is at that level. Prompt number 3 is, can intuition ever be completely objective? No, it can't be, and it should not be completely objective. It's one thing to reflect on whether we're using our intuition or whether it's our biases. And it's another thing to try to remove our feelings, our intuitions, our deep knowing, that inner voice. If we do that, tarot loses its unique quality. It loses its specialness, its magic, as I pull the Magician. Objectivity in tarot has its place, but we can't remove intuition and we can't expect intuition to ever be objective. Prompt number 4. Does structure make a reading more objective? Well, yes, by my definition, it does. Learning the structure of tarot helps us to understand the meaning of the cards, and that is the objective aspect of tarot. It's how we interpret the meaning of the cards, and when we do, someone else can relate to that interpretation because they have that same objective structure and meaning in the card. It doesn't take away from the intuition that a reading can bring, but I do believe that it adds some validity to a reading if you can tie in what you're saying with the structure of tarot as a whole. Prompt number 5. How does our worldview, ethics, beliefs, life experiences, and emotions influence the way we interpret the cards? As readers, we bring our individuality into our readings and how we read. All of our experience influence the kind of reader we are. I'm a holistic nurse, and I bring my holistic viewpoint to my readings. I incorporate crystal energy, meditation, astrology, numerology, animal energy, whatever I think is relevant to a reading. Another reader will have their unique methods based on their life experiences. So my readings, as someone who takes a holistic view, that's all based on my beliefs, my experiences. And that's a big part of the kind of reader I am. Prompt number 6. Is it easier to remain objective when reading for ourselves or for someone else? I am a fairly new reader, and I am just starting to read for others. What I'm finding is that it's much easier to remain objective when I'm reading for others than it is for myself. When I'm reading for myself, it's hard to turn off that bias, that what I want the cards to say. I have more skin in the game. I have more writing on the reading. If I'm reading for someone else, I can look at the objective meaning of the cards, see what message is there, and then pull in my intuition, pull in that deeper meaning that I'm sensing there. So for me, it's definitely easier to remain objective when I'm reading for someone else. Prompt number 7. Do you prefer reading with context, or do you prefer reading blind? They both have their strengths and weaknesses. As a new reader, it can be intimidating to read blind. I have to rely more on intuition, and I have to be careful not to get lost in the weeds. At the same time, it's freeing to be able to just read without having to fit it into context. On the other hand, if I'm reading on a specific question and the cards don't immediately have any relevance that I can see to that question, it can cause a moment of deer in the headlights. Other than that, though, it's generally easier to start with some context and move into the reading with that context in mind. So I feel like they both have their strengths and their weaknesses. And I enjoy doing both for myself and for others. Prompt number 8. What role should intuition play alongside the established meanings and archetypes of the tarot? I think I've talked a lot about this throughout this video, but just to sum it all up, ideally, I think that they should mesh together seamlessly within the reading. Most readings are not a perfect blend of the two, but I don't think An effective reading can rely entirely on the established meanings or intuition. There has to be a little of both. Pure intuition would rarely offer useful advice or clear advice to the querent. On the other hand, pure objectivity runs the risk of a cold analytical reading. You need to have both the head and the heart, I believe, for a good reading. The querent has to believe what you're saying. They have to understand it and be able to absorb it and apply it. And that takes the structure, the meaning, the archetypes. But at the same time, they're coming to tarot for something deeper, something with richer meaning, something that can answer their questions in a way that they can't see in everyday life. And that's where intuition comes in. Okay, those are my thoughts on tarot objectivity. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a channel, I hope you consider doing this tag. It's a fun one. It's a fun one to reflect on, and I'm sure it is going to be a lot of fun to watch Cara and Rochelle and what they have to say in their videos. If you don't have a channel, I would love for you to share your opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.